check our population real quick here. 6, 14, 24. Hey, everyone's still living there. That's good. That's a good sign. They got high thresholds for um, wanting to leave. They lose heat now and then, but they don't complain that much. Let's just check here. How's our supplies here? We got, yeah, a bit of everything. How's the mall doing? The meat's running a little bit low, but we do have a meat truck here. Well, it's probably grabbing some meat right now. We can follow that, check what's going on with the meat truck. Picking up some meat. And if you're not familiar with the game, these are distribution offices. They kind of manage your city. We're simulating an economy here, right? Like what's required. How to manage a real economy, not a fake economy. Not one where a bunch of people just print money and give it to themselves, buy whatever they feel like, and think they're helping. That's not a real economy. That's end. That's end of society Roman times. That's how Roman people acted near the end of near the collapse of the society. Enough people believed in trickle down economics um, that ultimately collapsed society because that's not a real thing. Trickle down, it's actually trickle up is how it should work. You start with the basics and you work your way up, right? You don't run if you don't know how to walk. Actually, this I want to talk about. This is maybe a slightly entertaining topic while we're because I'll probably just clip this if it's interesting enough. Unique idea. So as you know, I've been an entrepreneur. I've pitched to at least a dozen groups, and the majority of them reject the pitch on the principle that the company shouldn't get funded because it doesn't generate revenues. And more than half of them have rejected it for that reason. I'm pitching to them to have money in order to generate revenues, but they won't lend the money because I don't generate revenues. So this made me realize that the people that evaluate pitches, my theory is they're not necessarily stupid people, but they're handpicked for being very average people. Now, if I was a billionaire and I wanted to invest in something, I would get the people screening the investments to be very middle. Like, I'd tell them they're brilliant. I'd say, "Oh yeah, you had success, running your restaurants or whatever industry you had success in." I'd convince them they're top tier businessmen, but really I'd be choosing them because they're just average. They have an average mind with average vision and average thinking capacity. And again, part of the evidence that that's really happening is that's circular logic, right? You can't reject something for a reason that could be solved had you approved it, right? So that's just circular logic. And these people, this is common. A lot of more than half of them were concerned because of that. It's like a revenue analysis that they just they don't want to take any risk whatsoever. They don't even actually understand how a lot of innovations work. They're that ignorant that these pitch reviewers typically are this ignorant that they don't understand that other take the internet, right? The internet was developed through government funding, right? But at some point internet businesses came up and they completely forgot that fact. So more ignorant you are sometimes to the history of things, the the better suited you're going to be for having the mind of the average consumer. Because the average consumer is going to, 100 IQ. They know what they see on TV. They know what they see on the internet. They know what they hear from other people. And that's why a pitch reviewer has to be as close to the average person as can be, right? So these guys, even these billionaires on Shark Tank, um, again, I don't think any of them are that smart. I don't think any of them are geniuses. Like not, I like they're they're probably smarter than the average early stage screening, like the low level screening kind of stuff I do. Like maybe if I pitch to them, like if I pitch to someone on Shark Tank, um, I would probably like I might have a better chance with some of my business stuff because I think they might be a little smarter. But the lower tier programs, the ones that aren't on television, these are not the cream of the crop, so to speak. And I think that's by design because they want people who, again, they don't necessarily understand vision. They don't necessarily understand the technical value of things. They don't like. I developed electronic devices, and these people, if you gave them $10 million, couldn't have built what I built. They don't they wouldn't know who to hire. They wouldn't even know where to begin. And these are the ones assessing me for viability, right? You know, the gatekeepers, and the half of them, I'd say more than half of them, just don't understand what they're doing. Maybe some of them do, and they like they're dishonest actors, and they just want to notify their you know their billionaire loyalists. They notify them of good ideas, and then they steal the idea. That could be too, but um, generally, when you pitch to any of these incubators, they want you to be rich to begin with. It's not class mobility they're interested in. They're just interested in uh, you know, defending the interests of the capital, number one, right? And even if that's at your expense, but quite frankly, they just don't have a clue what they're doing. Like China's model is much better, where they actually have experts that understand an industry and they understand the real problem of capital, rather than like I'd say almost everyone on a panel that reviews what gets funded for these incubators is a rich person to begin with. And therefore, they don't understand the principle that some people that pitch just don't have the money. They're just genuinely poor. That just they can't even buy a $100 graphic, right? They don't understand these basic things because they've never had to deal with these things because they grew up with some either financial privilege or a social privilege where they were popular enough, a bunch of people helped them out for free, right? And these people kind of dictate who gets to be rich, and I think that's a failing idea. That doesn't work. That China, I think, is demonstrating superior methodologies of that. Way less restrictive, way easier to get money in China. Like they're a free market, and the U.S., Canada, most Western nations aren't really. So that's yeah, that's just one of the things I want to talk about. That wasn't the comedic bit, but the middling IQ of business pitch groups. That's just a theory of mine. So one of these topics I have later. I don't know if it's might offend some people. That one might have offended some people too, but who gives a crap? You know what? If you're too dumb to know what a good idea is, and like you don't, there's ways of testing people whether they're listening, right? There's ways of verifying if you, you know, it's it's a handshake, right? I'll say something. If you don't repeat back in any form the words in a coherent display of understanding, then I know there's an issue, right? And yeah, there's a lot of finance people. It's not the privileged people who don't understand the economy, yet they control it. And then when there's many economic problems, uh, yeah, they ask for bailouts, but no, they shouldn't get bailed out. If you invest in stuff and you made bad decisions, you made your choices, you got to live in the street. That's you can't be bailed out. You picked the wrong thing to invest in. Now you got to live with it. Let's double check things in the game here. Just do a quick population count. 14. Yeah, everyone still lives there. Are they getting any happier? Oh no, I don't know if 31%. Maybe.